remember that event that we had?
Yeah.
I pretty much asked everyone if there were others outside.
All right, well, good to see you guys. Glad you guys all came. I don't know, what's the name of this group that you guys are in?
Upward Bound.
Upward Bound.
Yes.
Well, I like it. Thanks for having me out. Thomas reached out to me on Facebook. He wanted me to come and speak with you guys. 10 years ago, I was homeless. So we'll start there with the worst part. 10 years ago, my mother kicked me out of my house. I had nowhere to go, and I had to find a way to get into high school. So I had to go to the court, and I had to get emancipated. So you can imagine being 15 and having nowhere to go. What's up?
I'm sorry, but why she kick you out the house?
We can talk about that in a moment.
Okay.
But she did have mental illness. She suffered from mental illness, so it wasn't all her fault. But 15, emancipated, I had nowhere to go. I had to figure out a way to combat that. I had to get myself in high school. I got the paperwork together. Whatever. I graduated high school. I'm still poor. Still got nothing going for me. I don't know what I'm going to do. At 18, I signed up for the military. I go to the National Guard. I become a medic. I come home. I go to college. I graduate college. I get a job. I buy a house. Now I own my own home 10 years later after being kicked out. That's a very quick synopsis of everything that I went through, which is why I'm glad to be here talking with you guys today, because a lot of you might be in similar predicaments or know people in similar predicaments. And there is a way out of it if you just believe in yourself, which just sounds cliche. But it's cliche because it's true. So I'm gonna tell you how I got through that in the last 10 years of my life without giving up on myself. I kept three letters in my head, right? IMH, right? It's in my hands, right? Because when you have nobody to depend on, it's in your hands to make your life something or nothing. Because if you fail and you got nobody there, it's whose fault is it? So I kept this thought in my head, okay, it's in my hands, it's in my hands. Every adult that I met was like, hey man, look, I can't have you at my house. I can't go to college for you. I can't give you a job. You got to do it. So that's what I'm here to tell you guys right now. So if you are in this program for you're on probation or your mom needs you to be here because you're a troubled child or whatever brought you here, your future's in your hands, and it really depends on how you look at yourself. A lot of people, they say there's no opportunities out here, but a lot of people who say that, they just have not developed their own talents, and they haven't developed cognitively the ability to find opportunities for themselves. They're sitting at their mother's house in the basement complaining that there are no jobs and whatnot. And I don't want you guys to be one of those people. So I'm going to explain how to avoid that. The first question you got to ask yourself when you want to become a fully functioning adult, and it's kind of funny because it's grammatically incorrect, but just bear with me. You got to ask yourself, who do you think you is? Now, I know you is sounds funny. Yeah, see, you're laughing. It's funny. But if you slow it down and break it down incrementally, who do you think you is a very important question, right? Because based off who you think you is, that's how you're gonna move, right? So if you look in the mirror and you're like, I'm a real nigga, you're gonna act like one, right? Am I wrong? You're gonna act like one. And when you do things like that, somebody steps on your shoe, you know what you say? You say, you know what, I'm a real nigga, don't step on my shoe. And you react with violence, right? But if you look in the mirror and you say, I'm a man, I'm honest, I'm respectful, I'm hardworking. Now when you're in situations, you revert back to that like, well, I'm not going to be lazy. You know what? I'm a hardworking man. Let me get that done. Right? I'm a hardworking woman. Let me get that done. You know, you wake up, you want to be sloppy, but you're like, I'm not sloppy. So then you don't behave like that because you don't think of yourself in that way. Right? So who do you think you is? Step 2 of the In My Hands process and taking control of your life is you got to play your role, you see. And I'm glad you brought that up, right? Because in groups, you got to play your role, right? You can't all be the leader, right? But there's nothing wrong with being an Indian when you got a good chief. There's nothing wrong with playing your role and living up to your own ability. There's nothing wrong with that. See, the problem with today's society is that people don't want to play their role, right? They want to start at the top. They don't want to go brick by brick. They don't want to go step by step. They feel like I should be the leader. I walk into McDonald's, I should be the manager. That's not how it works. You got to play your role due to your level of ability and your competence. Right now, none of you guys can pay a mortgage. You literally could not know enough to own a house. You don't know enough about credit. You don't know enough about anything. So you shouldn't be judging yourself the way I judge myself at 25. Does that make sense? Right? Because I'm playing my role. I'm a tax-paying young man. I'm out there in the world as an adult. You got to play your role as 19. You got to develop. This is your developmental stage. You got to find out who you are so that you can play your role, so that you can contribute the most you can to society. Step 3, after you know yourself, you ask yourself, who do I think I am? Who am I? After you're like, okay, I want to play this role. I want to be a nurse. I want to be a pharmacist. I want to be a truck driver. I want to be a psychologist. I want to be... Then you got to find opportunities based off this. This is the role I want to play. How do I get these opportunities? How do you guys think you get to these opportunities?
Putting yourself out there,
How you put yourself out there?
connecting, being actively engaged, talking.
You're getting there. Where are we at right now? We're in where? You guys aren't motivated enough. Can you guys? I can't hear you. Could you? Where are we at?
School in the
We're
library.
at school, right? So once you know yourself and you decide to roll for yourself, you gotta get educated in that direction. If you don't get educated, that's the foundation of everything. I know it's cliche. You're like, oh my God, school. But I'm not here to advocate for 4-year college. I'm not doing that. But you gotta know something in 2017. The guy who gets to walk into a factory just because he's breathing does not get a job anymore. And you need to understand that now, right? Because you're not gonna retire. There's no jobs for you if you don't know anything. What does the world owe you? Nothing. Now, back in the 50s, when I just needed you to press a button, that was okay. But we don't need that anymore. In all of your pockets right now, you have all the information pretty much ever. You understand that, right? So if you don't know anything, if you've not taken time to learn how to build a house, or fix ovens, or drive a truck, then you're pretty much, what are you doing? So you got to be able to educate yourself to utilize these opportunities based off of how you look at yourself and based off the role you want to play. Does that make sense? After you have realized who you want to be or thought about who you want to be and the role you want to play and you've sought out these opportunities, the next thing you have to do is you have to make a decision to utilize these opportunities. Plenty of people go to college, am I wrong, right? So they go to college to educate themselves, to get opportunities. But they don't want to take the opportunities. They don't make a decision. They sit there and they complain. Well, I got a degree in psychology, I'm not a psychologist yet. Well, you've got no experience. You need to start at the bottom. So you got to make a decision to utilize the opportunities in front of you, whatever they are, right? Because they're not going to be the greatest opportunities of all time when you're 22, right? Because a real psychologist, you know how old they are? 40. And they've been doing it for 12 years. You can't compare. But you know what's the difference between that 40-year-old and that 24-year-old out of college? 12 years of experience. That's a huge difference. You may have all the education in the world to utilize these opportunities, but you're not going to get the best ones. You got to go brick by brick to get yourself up there. Does that make sense what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. The last part of the In My Hands process, when you take control of your life, you have to be willing to change. You understand what I'm saying to you? So me right now, 25, I bought a house. I can't spend my money the same way like I spent it when I was renting a room for $300. That wouldn't make sense. You see what I'm saying? So I worked hard to get the opportunity to buy the house, to then be in a position, okay, now I have to completely change my life, right? So if you go to school right now, and then 5 years from now you are 23 or whatever, you can't behave in the same manner you did when you were 18. It's not going to make sense if you want to take control of your life. Because there is no self-evolution without destruction of who you used to be, right? So I couldn't feel sorry for myself at 15, 10 years ago and not change every single year to get to the point that I am now, you understand? Each year I had to change. People were still smoking weed. Every last one of my friends went to prison. I was smart enough to say, I got to change. I can't do this. I got to change. You know what? It's 12:30, I'm going home. You know why? Because at 1 in the morning, everybody starts boxing, right? I got to go. I can't do this. I looked around and I said, you know what? Who's succeeding around me? The dudes who are changing, who I don't see anymore. Who got a new car, who's building his credit up so he can do this, who's taking that job, who's moving out of state, changing their life. So if you want to take your life in your hands and you don't want to stay in the same position, you got to be willing to change. You got to be willing to change. The biggest point of me coming here today is I want to tell you guys that change is the price of survival. I know that sounds gigantic and philosophical, like, who do you think you are talking to me like this? But one day you'll sit in your car and you'll realize change is the price of survival.